before you leave your emotional, angry comments in the comment section, and I'm not saying your anger is invalid because honestly, I get it. I want everyone to take a pause first and let's actually have a calm discussion about what's going on. And first of all, thank you to all the people in my community who let me crash the fuck out in the community tab. Thank you for letting me talk shit for a second. To be honest, if it wasn't already obvious, I treat that place like a group chat. And yes, I talk smack about the whole situation. I know I upset some people by saying certain things. And am I sorry for saying how I feel? I'm not. I still feel the way I feel, but I do understand next time. Maybe I should keep the shit talking to myself and not dump every single angry thought publicly while I'm still processing. It's been more than 10 hours since that statement has been released by Infold, and I've had some time to process what's happening, and my anger is still very much present, but more than that, I just feel really disappointed at the situation, at what this has came to be. I've played so many otome games, and I've been in so many fandoms, and never in my life have I ever seen anything like this. I want to unpack the whole situation with everyone, and I want to let everyone know that I think this is not just a matter of Infold bending to the wills of these extreme fans. I think this has escalated into something political. So we all know the visceral reaction that has been very publicly expressed by the Chinese fandom when Valko was released. I'm talking about that 40-second CGI preview. The majority of the CN fandom hated it, and that hatred escalated from outrage on social media, calling a fictional character homophobic slurs, and just being very racist in general. I feel like that's nothing new. Some of the Chinese players are so fucking weird. So yeah, that whole thing escalated to reporting his actual preview and nitpicking words that his character has said to news outlets and publishings, to the point that it's being talked about in the Women of China magazine, which has more than 1 million followers on Xiaohongshu. This magazine is very influential. And then, separate from Valko himself, another layer of controversy started getting pulled into the discussion. So this is where the situation started becoming politically and historically sensitive. So for context, players brought the attention to a line from World Underneath 25, the chapter involving Isaiah being experimented on by Soren. So in that chapter, one of the data file numbers was originally shown as A-0731. So I need a pause here, especially for my viewers, the global players. 731 is not just a random number in Chinese historical memory. So Unit 731 refers to a Japanese Imperial Army biological and chemical warfare during World War II. This is associated with some of the most horrific war crimes committed in China, including human experimentation, infections with pathogens, and biological warfare research. So when the number 0731 appears in a fictional human experimentation storyline, even if it was genuinely accidental, I can understand why people were upset. You do not have to agree with every single reaction online to understand why that number, placed in that kind of plot context, would feel, you know what I mean. But then Infold changed the number, and from what the players documented, it was changed to 611. And that did not make things better. And it was also not received well by the players, though I don't really know what tragedy this could be connected to. Can someone in the comments please educate all of us? So instead of calming the situation down, the replacement number created just, I guess, a second wave of criticism. Eventually, from what I can see, those specific numbers were removed altogether. The game changed that into something more generic, like just experimentation A. So this is why I'm saying the backlash escalated beyond normal fandom outrage. But another thing I want to point out is that these World Underneath chapters were not released yesterday. It was not released during Valko's debut. World Underneath 25 to 30 came out more than 2 months ago. I covered it in this channel. And the characters being discussed in World Underneath 25 is not even Valko. This is not Valko's chapter, and this is not Valko's storyline. This is connected to Isaiah, Soren, and Xavier's side of the lore. So, like, why is Valko being cancelled for Xavier's lore? And why is this suddenly being brought up to the surface now? Like, why is everyone suddenly reading the lore? Like, this shit was published 2 months ago. Why didn't it blow up 2 months ago? You know, why was this not noticed 2 months ago? And listen, I'm not saying that the 731 criticism is invalid. I'm not saying that. If you put that number into human experimentation storyline, especially in a Chinese game, of course people are going to react. This is not a small thing. That was a tragedy. But the timing is what makes this entire situation feel so much bigger than just players noticed a bad number. Because this controversy was being pushed into media outlets and public-facing platforms very close to July 1, which is officially observed as the Communist Party of China's founding anniversary, commonly referred to as the party's birthday. So this is a very, very, very sensitive topic to be brought up very close to this date. And guys, I need to be very clear here. Like, this is just speculation. This is my read of the situation. I'm not claiming to know what's going on, what Infold's internal discussions were. But from the outside, it really feels like this became less about Valko as a character and more about Infold trying to contain public controversy that had escalated way beyond like normal fandom discourse. Because again, the experimentation thing has nothing to do with Valko himself. Like, it's not his chapter, it's not his backstory, it's not something that he said. I don't know, man. This is speculation, obviously, but from the outside, it feels like extreme fans reported and escalated this situation so hard that Infold basically went into panic mode. That's what it feels like to me, because this got political very, very quickly, and it happened around a very sensitive date. Valko's cancellation feels like, please stop reporting us. Please stop escalating this. Like, we'll give you what you want. Here you go. You want him canceled? We'll cancel him. This whole statement itself, this whole statement has that energy. It really feels like someone is pointing a gun to their head and they're responding like, we're sorry, fine. We promise there will only be 5 love interests from now on and we'll give you what you want. Please just make this stop. Because for an otome gacha to publicly limit itself to only 5 love interests forever, even though it had plans for 6 or maybe more, I don't know, it's a gacha game. That is insane to me, especially since they have publicly said that they have plans to continue the game for 5 to 10 years. For a gacha company to say this, like profit-wise, that feels like shooting themselves in the foot. And marketing-wise, this looks fucking horrible. They're basically telling their audience, the future of this game is now smaller because the backlash, it worked. And that's what makes this feel so fucking bad. And I don't know what kind of internal chaos that is currently happening in their headquarters right now, but the statement itself, it feels so fucking rushed. And there's also this ridiculous hashtag. Like, what is this? This doesn't feel like this is... And I don't understand the people who have been reporting this to media outlets and public-facing authorities. Like, are these actually players? Because if you are an actual player, do you realize what you are risking here? You're not just holding the company accountable at that point. You are potentially putting the entire game at risk. And if this company seriously gets punished, if the game gets restricted, suspended, or even worse, then what happens to your favorite characters? What happens to the game you are supposedly trying to protect? At this point, I don't even know if I want to believe these are actual players doing this or not. And again, I need to be clear, this is speculation, this is me spiraling, and this is not me saying I know what happened behind the scenes. But I'm having so many conspiracy thoughts about this entire situation because the timing is so weird. The World Underneath chapters were released more than 2 months ago. This is not brand new content, and yet this specific controversy suddenly escalated this publicly, this close to July 1st. I'm not here to tell you how to think. I'm not saying I have proof of some grand conspiracy. From where I'm standing, the timing is fucking weird. It's just too weird for me not to question it, okay? And if these are actual players doing this and they're happy that they got what they wanted, I need to ask, do you actually understand what this means? Because this is not just like, oh, they removed one character. Like, no, this means they potentially had to scrap an entire writing direction. The UI of the game itself looks like it was intentionally designed to hold 6 love interests. And I'm not even going to go on about the writing structure, about how each male lead has foils and contrasts, which is, it's basic character writing, by the way. Foils are not some insane conspiracy theory. Like, this is basic, I'm getting upset. This is literally basic storytelling. But even without going into all that, just looking at the way the game is structured, it's so obvious that this character was not a last-minute random addition. Like, I don't know if these people who are supporting this, I don't know if they actually understand what this means. Like, it means they have to rewrite things. It means whatever long-term narrative plans they had, whatever base lore they were slowly building toward, whatever connections they planted in the main story from the beginning, from World Underneath, anecdotes, the side content, all of that is now disrupted. Whatever narrative they had planned, it's fucked. It's fucked. Someone I know brought up the possibility that this might not just be fans, like that maybe outside parties could be taking advantage of the situation too. I can't get it out of my head. I'm not saying that this is what happened. I don't have proof. I'm not accusing anyone. But after seeing how weird the timing is, how quickly this escalated, how Old World Underneath content suddenly became the center of public outrage right around July 1, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't suspicious. This is weird. It's weird, okay? And Infold, as a company, like, they have problems. They have a lot of problems. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend they are perfect. Infold is not perfect. They have made questionable decisions. They've mishandled communication. They have made choices that I think deserve criticism. But, like, the creative team, the writing team, they're the reason I fell in love with this game in the first place. That is why I feel so bad for them. Creating a narrative like this is not easy. It really is not. It takes years to write a whole character and turn that character into something real. The design, the voice acting, the animation, the writing, the emotional arc, the main story integration, the foreshadowing, the relationship with MC, the world building, all of that takes time. And Love in Deep Space is not a simple story where every piece exists separately, especially in the main story. Like, everything is connected. You would know. If you watch my channel, you would know. The main story is connected to the World Underneath. World Underneath is connected to anecdotes. Anecdotes are connected to the myths sometimes. The myths are connected to the wider lore. The game has been building this huge web of information for years. So if Valko was supposed to be a part of that structure and now he's gone, that's not a small cut. That's not just deleting one guy from... That is cutting into the skeletons of the story. The whole time, the main story has been pointing toward Gaia Research Center, MC's origin, human experimentation, deep space signals, and whatever the actual big bad of this game is supposed to be. And recently, like, it was revealed that the forces behind Gaia Research Center, which is the organization that created MC, may not even be the same thing as ever. And we're finally about to learn more about that whole section of the game, and we're finally getting more of MC's backstory and origin. Like, this is what the story has been pointing toward for so long. Like, in every ending of almost every chapter, they're like, oh, ever. So when people say that there is no build-up for this character, I honestly don't know what to say. Like, to me, that just tells me you don't engage with the full story. You engage with the parts you want to see. You read your favorite character's content and you ignore the wider lore. And then when the game actually follows through on the things it has been setting up, you act like it came out of nowhere. And I don't know how they're gonna recover from this. At first, I was just sad and disappointed, but learning more about everything that happened, like, I'm still sad, I'm still disappointed, I'm still angry, but now I'm just, I don't know. I feel very hollow inside. And I'm also suspicious because something about this feels so off. I don't know what it is. It just feels weird. I'm not here to tell you how to think, but I'm not saying I have the proof of some grand conspiracy, but the world underneath content was released more than 2 months ago. This is not new. This is not something people discovered yesterday. And now suddenly everyone is fucking reading the lore. Oh shit. Suddenly, so everyone notices this. Suddenly now, right around the 1st of July, this gets brought to the surface and it escalated this hard. I'm sorry. That is weird. It's fucking weird. I don't know. And you know what? Regardless of whether this came from genuinely unsatisfied players, extreme fans, or people who were looking for a way to attack the game, this sets a really bad example because what does this tell other Chinese games? That if you write anything even slightly dark, controversial, political, dystopian, or morally uncomfortable to your lore, and then the fandom gets angry at you for something, people can just take those details out of context and report your ass to media outlets or public-facing authorities. Like, imagine a game has a dystopian storyline where the villain uses surveillance, propaganda, or censorship, or human experimentation. Like, those are normal themes in dark sci-fi. Those are normal themes in dystopian fiction. If your fans are mad at you, they can suddenly go, oh, look what they're doing. Look at what they're writing. Look at what they're implying. Look at what this phrase could be connected to. Like, it becomes ammunition. It becomes ammunition. And that's what makes us so fucking sad, guys. I'm genuinely so speechless because regardless of how you feel about Valko, regardless of whether you wanted him or not, like, there are real people behind this. There were artists, there writers, animators, voice actors, designers, producers, like people who worked on this character, this update, this direction for the game. And now all of that just goes down the drain. I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. I just hope that the creative team is okay. And I really hope that the work they poured into this character and into this story doesn't just disappear. And it's so sad. I just feel so bad for the creative team. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Bye.